Hello and welcome to Tank and AFV News. My name's Tom, and today we are doing a book review. This one today is this fantastic new book from the folks at Panzerwrecks. Panzerwrecks in Berlin, 1945. As you can see, this is a rather substantial hardcover book. So for those familiar with the Panzerwreck series, which they've done quite a few of those, most of those tend to be softcover, sort of similar layout, kind of wider than they are tall. Photo compilation books, obviously of wrecked Panzers, German World War II tanks, and they usually vary around between 100 and 200 pages. This one's almost 400 pages. This is the biggest one, at least that I've seen in this series, and this book is, I have to say, this one really impressed me. I got this one in the mail. I wasn't even expecting it. They just sent it to me. So it was a total surprise. I opened it up and I was pretty blown away. This is a gorgeous book. It is by, list the authors here, Lee Archer, Robert Kraska, and Mario Lippert. Lee Archer, of course, is the name that I seem to remember most. I think he's one of the main people behind the Panzerwrecks series. And then, of course, it's also got artwork by Philippe Rodna. Not sure how you say that, but his artwork I've seen in numerous books, and it's always quite good. So, always a welcome name to see on a book cover. So, what makes this one different than some of the other books in this series? Well, for one thing, I mean, aside from the size and presentation, it's a little more specific. Now, the Battle of Berlin is not one I've ever actually paid a huge amount of attention to, because it's not really number one of the sort of major tank battles of the war, nor is it one of the pivotal battles of the war. I mean, it's the last battle in Europe. It's sort of a foregone conclusion who's going to win. So I'd never really thought about it too much. So that also made the book even more interesting for me, because it's just such an odd collection of armor. As you can imagine, the Germans are really scraping the bottom of the barrel by the Battle of Berlin. The other thing that's interesting is, since this is the last battle, once it's done, the war's over. And most of the wrecks are just sort of sitting there in Berlin for a while until, they get cleaned up or scrapped or whatever. So a lot of people are around, because obviously this is still an urban center. So I think a lot of photographic evidence existed after the fact. And they were able to pinpoint where some of these locations are. So unlike in some of the other Panzerwreck books, where the captions will say well, we think this is in the vicinity of this village, but we're not sure. Sometimes they can be more specific, sometimes they can't. With this book, they can get really specific, and there's something cool they do. And I know they've done this in some of the other books, but it works pretty well in here, is that they have these QR codes, just like that one right there. So if you use your phone, the reader on your phone, on some of these pages, there'll be a QR code. You just take a picture with your phone, and it'll bring up the the Google Math coordinates of that location, so you can see what it looks like now. So in case anybody's in Berlin and wants to actually sort of try to put these pictures, go see the actual location, see what it looks like now, as opposed to then kind of wrap your head around trying to sort of figure out the layout of the battle. That's kind of a cool thing you can do. Now, not every photo has one of those, but quite a few of them do. So as we flip through the book, we'll see some of those. The other thing that's interesting is this one does have quite a bit of information that is beyond just the captions of the photos. So there's, as we flip through here in a minute, you'll see that there's very specific descriptions of the units involved, the kind of vehicles they had, where they were, on what day, yada yada, quite detailed stuff. So, like I said, because this was sort of the last battle of the war, I think it was a little easier for them to piece together the battlefield afterward, because it wasn't immediately, onto the next battle or onto the next whatever. It's like, okay, everything's done. There's just, people are out there taking photographs, and there's just more documentary evidence. So, like I said, the presentation on this is really nice. Again, hardcover. First thing, it's got a nice little bookmark here, QR code, and we've got this map, which it's a nice little extra. It just sort of gives you overview, so you can see, sort of follow the descriptions of the book with that, without having to, one nice thing about having a map that's not connected physically part of the book is you're not having to flip it back and forth constantly. You can open that up, set it on a table, and then references it while you're reading. And I've just sort of got these little bookmarks so I can follow. So here's a good example of the Rodna, or Rodna, however you say his name, artwork. This is a dummy Panzerjäger. Obviously, it's on a Panzer I chassis. And these were in Berlin. It gives you an example, like I said, of some of the just complete oddball, whatever leftover stuff the Germans had. That's sort of what was in the city. So I'm just going to flip through here quick. Obviously I don't want to show people the entire book. Go get it yourself and look at it because it's fantastic. But here's an example of some of the text. So here we're looking, so they're looking at a Pacific Panzer Grenadier Division, sort of going through the structure, day by day, what's it doing. So you can see that there's quite a bit of information. So this isn't just a photo book. If you want to learn about this battle and the specific units, this is a nice resource to have. As far as the photographs, it's a pretty similar layout to most of the Panzerwrecks series, in that the reason these books are printed this way is because they do pretty much one photo per page. And the photo quality varies because we're dealing with more than 70-year-old photos, and obviously photo technology back then was not what it is now. So some of the photos are going to be a little better than others, and that's just the limitations of the source material they're working with. And one thing, I thought I was pretty well versed in all the different obscure Panzerjägers or Jagdpanzers. I learned something from this book. I did not. I was not aware of the Panzerjäger B4, Ausführung B, which was a sort of a little tracked vehicle with some rocket launchers on it. They had a couple different versions. A very, definitely a kind of emergency thrown together, this is them scraping the barrel kind of thing. So again, that's one of the nice pictures by Rodna. Just another example, obviously it's not all tanks. Here's a half-track with anti-aircraft gun. Another picture here, again, the QR code there. Another example of just, day-by-day battlefield descriptions of particular areas and units. Again, like I said, this book, tons of information on that. And that sort of gives you an idea, sort of flip through real quick. You have just lots of pictures. Some of the pictures are interesting because they're taken quite a while after the battle. It took them a long time to clean this stuff up. I mean, when you have, a 70-ton King Tiger tank laying in the street, it's not something you just call up the local tow truck, I suppose, to haul away. And then in the back of the book, you've got an appendix. So here we have, charts of German tank strength units at the battle, and other interesting information, some of this pertaining to some of the vehicle manufacturers, Alkart, Daimler Werke. So that should give you a pretty good idea. Like I said, it's almost 400 pages long. If you're familiar with the Panzerwrecks series, the photo quality reproduction is always really nice. The paper quality is nice. It's sort of nice quality, shiny paper, so it looks good. This, I believe, I got this one in this copy a little while ago, but I think this just went on sale on Amazon, at least the U.S. Amazon, earlier this week or late last week. So it's pretty new on the market. I believe it's about $49.95 or similar to that. So $50, which, frankly, for a book of this quality, is not a bad price at all. And this is the kind of book, once it's out there, I don't think this thing's going to stay in demand. So it's one of those books, buy it now, because probably the prices are, once it hits the used listings, it's probably going to go up in price rather than down, is my guess. So yeah, this is an unreserved thumbs up. This book is gorgeous, and I am very grateful to have gotten my hands on a copy, and you should too. So again, thanks to the publishers who sent me this copy, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you.